Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedom and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country. In the courtrooms of America, Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedom.
The ObamaCare case is back, and we're headed back to the Court of Appeals and eventually back to the United States Supreme Court. Hi, I'm Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel. Joining me is Matt Barber, vice president of Liberty Counsel Action. Matt, the front line news all over the country last week was the Supreme Court's decision. A week ago, they ultimately ruled that Liberty Counsel's petition for rehearing was granted, which means that we have our day in court. We go back to the Court of Appeals. They have directed that the Court of Appeals rehear our case. And that means that we'll have an opportunity to have arguments on the constitutionality of the employer mandate. And also, if the employer mandate is upheld for some reason, then the other arguments are that it violates the free exercise of religion, as well as the individual mandate violates the free exercise of religion, because the employer mandate requires Liberty University and other religious employers to fund abortion, also contraception and sterilization, which obviously is a major issue for Roman Catholic institutions. But for Liberty University, it's the funding of abortion that is the critical component of this. We cannot fund abortion. This is funding the murder of innocent human beings. It's a line that we simply cannot cross. Also, however, individuals, in case individuals think this is only for religious employers, individuals will also be assessed a fee, and that fee goes into funding abortion as well. Whether they buy insurance or whether they pay the penalty for not having insurance, individuals will also be complicit in the taking of innocent human lives.
Yeah, the debate on whether Obamacare funds abortion is settled. It funds abortion through abortifacients, through the HHS mandate, and through the individual requirement that people put money into a collective kitty that is pulled from to fund government funding of abortion. At many levels, abortion is funded. There's no question. Now, Matt, this is, we've said over and over again, the grossest violation of freedom of conscience we've seen, certainly in our lifetimes. Thomas Jefferson said this. He said, to compel a man to furnish contributions of money for the propagation of opinions which he disbelieves and abhors is sinful and tyrannical. This is tyrannical, Obamacare. It's also sinful, as you mentioned. We are left, Liberty University, for instance, Catholic Charities, as Cardinal Dolan has said, are left with essentially two choices: either clash with this Obama government through and defy Obamacare and the mandates inherent therein, or violate one's own conscience, essentially sin. Fund abortion, pay for abortion homicide, be complicit in the taking of innocent human life. Matt, what is a university like Liberty University to do, left only those two options if our case is unsuccessful, for instance?
Well, for most religious employers, like Liberty University, 2013 is DDay, because at different times in 2013, when the annual renewal for your insurance policy comes available, those employers will then be forced under this Obamacare to fund abortion or abortifacient or abortion-inducing drugs, among other things. So it's at that point in time, it's going to be different times for different Christian or religious employers that they face this D-Day. And the decision will be, do we comply with Obamacare and by so doing literally fund the taking of innocent human life, contrary to the core religious convictions, or do we disobey Obamacare and abide by our religious convictions, and consequently Obamacare will then, through the federal government, fine those religious institutions millions of dollars? For example, Liberty University is the largest Christian university in the world. We have over 6,000 or so employees, but we cover nearly 9,000, 10,000 lives, dependents and so forth, so that covers about almost 10,000 lives. Now, if we ultimately decide, which certainly this is a line that Liberty can't cross and will not cross, if Liberty ultimately comes to this D-Day and we don't have the relief and will not fund abortion, then Liberty will be fined between $2,000 and $3,000 for every one of those 9,000 to 10,000 lives. Say if you have 10,000 people that you're covering, and say you have $2,000, you'll be fined every single time, not just a one-time fine, but $2 million at a pop. And that thing will add up day after day to $1 million, another $2 million, another $2 million, $2,000 to $3,000 for every life that you cover. So those are huge financial repercussions. Those will be decisions that literally were made on November when people went to the polls. And I don't think people realize the implications of what's coming up. That's why Cardinal Dolan has made, and he's the chair of the U.S. Catholic Conference of Bishops, has come out with this statement on religious freedom. And on this issue, he's called this ObamaCare forced funding of abortion, contraception, and sterilization for religious employers an unjust law that the Roman Catholic Church will not abide by. They will not obey it. Well, Liberty University is in the same situation. So we have argued in this case, and I think the reason why this is a significant case is that if the Supreme Court justices felt that they did not want to have anything more to do with Obamacare, they could have denied our petition on behalf of Liberty University and two private individuals that Liberty Counsel represents. They could have said, enough's enough, we don't want to deal with it anymore. But they granted the petition, which breathed brand new life into our case. It means that we're back on a track to the United States Supreme Court, first through the appellate court, then to the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, as it relates to the free exercise of religion, in the last term, the Supreme Court had a case regarding the free exercise of religion. And guess what the decision was? It wasn't 5-4, 6-3, 7-2, 8-1. It was 9-0. Very rare indeed to get 9-0 across the board. And they soundly rejected the Federal Department of Justice's argument regarding free exercise of religion. And they ruled in favor of free exercise of religion. The government wanted to limit the free exercise of religion. The United States Supreme Court put a punctuation mark and said, no, it's here to stay. We like it. You're wrong. I think they have a strong interest in protecting free exercise of religion, and that's one of the core components of our case.
Well, part of the government working within the framework of the First Amendment's free exercise of religion is to provide accommodations for religious exercise, for religious free exercise. Now, people often make the mistake, in talking about other legislation and so forth, they say, well, as long as there's a religious exemption of some kind that will protect a narrow aspect of religious freedom. But the Constitution, the First Amendment, doesn't just apply to Catholic charities. It doesn't just apply to Liberty University. Free exercise applies to the individual. So if, and it does, Obamacare funds abortion homicide through taxpayer funding, forces people to be complicit in that, don't individual people as well as small businesses, no matter what they're dealing, it doesn't have to be a religious-minded or strictly a Christian organization. It could just be the lawn care service down the street that's a small business, happens to be owned by Christians. Wouldn't this violate their freedom of conscience as well? Oh, yeah,
it would certainly violate their freedom of conscience. It's going to violate every religious employer in the country. It's going to violate every individual. Right. Because if the individual says, if the individual has insurance through a company, they're going to be assessed a fee, and that fee actually goes to fund abortion. That individual will be as part of the premiums. Because that's required under Obamacare. If, on the other hand, they don't have insurance and they say, I don't want insurance, I'm going to pay the penalty. Well, there's a fee in that penalty that they're ultimately going to pay. The only way an individual can get out of this is to say, I'm not going to have insurance and I'm not going to pay the penalty, and if you don't like it, government, come after me. Yeah. Now, that's an awful position to be placed in, but that's the position Obamacare has placed people in. It is unprecedented that this administration is so ideologically adhering to abortion that they are willing to sacrifice the very core issues of free exercise of religion that are the foundation of this country, protected by the First Amendment, even a federal law called the Religious Freedom Restoration Act passed by Congress, and they're willing to throw all of that away because they want people to fund abortion.
Thomas Jefferson had a word for it. It's tyranny. There's no other word for it, Matt.
You're right. It is. And so the good news is, however, Matt, is that we're back on track, and it surprised a lot of people around the country. We weren't surprised. We knew this may be coming. We had been working on it for months, and we've been on this case since 2010, litigating this matter. We're back now. Continue to keep us in prayer. We're going to be doing a lot of work as we prepare for the Court of Appeals argument, and then from there on, after that, the United States Supreme Court. Go to Liberty Counsel's website, lc.org. That's lc.org. I encourage you to not only pray for the ministry, But remember Liberty Counsel, particularly at this time of year, in your year-end giving. And you can go to the website to give a year-end contribution through the online credit card, or you can mail in your contribution. Or Liberty Counsel also accepts other kinds of appreciated property or bonds or stocks, anything that you feel the Lord is laying on your heart to participate in this ministry. I would encourage you to call Liberty Counsel today, 1-800-671-1776 or lc.org.
You have been listening to Faith and Freedom with Liberty Counsel. We hope that we have motivated you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedom. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email updates. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.